We're here to have real conversations with the real people you want to hear from about real topics that you really want to learn. And we're here to help you open up with real thinking. We're here to open up your awareness and help you become the real you. Welcome to the Wake the Bleep Up Show. Welcome, everybody, to the Wake the Bleep Up Show, where we have real conversations with real people about real topics you want to hear about to help you get into some real thinking. Today, we're joined with my friend Lucie Ptasznik. Did I say that right? Ptasznik?
You got it.
And she's got all kinds of stuff that you're going to love to hear about. She talks about manifesting, quantum physics. She's a national speaker, a coach. There's so much here, and we're going to have so much fun today. Welcome, Lucie, to the show.
Thank you for having me, Tony. I'm excited and grateful to be here.
So I got to ask first and foremost, for everyone listening out there, how did you get into and where did you learn quantum physics?
Oh my gosh. So we're going right into the good stuff right away.
Heck yeah, we got to fire up this audience. Come on.
All right. So quantum physics it's kind of like you have to understand the laws of the universe. So when we talk about, for example, law of attraction, some people are like, oh no, I don't believe in that hocus pocus. Well, I like to explain it like gravity. You can't see gravity. But I know that if I pick up this marker and I drop it, I can bet my bottom dollar that it's going to fall because gravity is constantly at work every minute of every day. I know without a shadow of a doubt that these laws are working. So the laws of the universe, like the law of attraction, is just like gravity. Whether you choose to acknowledge its existence or not, it's always in operation. And so you can choose to work with it and use it as a tool to intentionally create the life of your dreams. And so quantum physics is really understanding that we live in a vibrational universe where all things move and all things vibrate. So that's the first law of the universe, the law of vibration. And and the second thing is that understanding that we live in an attraction-based universe. And so what that means is that we don't attract what we want, we attract what we are. And so many times when people start talking about manifestation, the law of attraction, they think that all they have to do is like write on a piece of paper what they want and then close their eyes and poof, it's going to magically appear. And that sounds great. However, there needs to be a little bit of discussion that, again, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So if you want more love, you have to be more loving. If you want more money, you have to really embody the energy of abundance and become more generous. And through the law of reciprocity, money will instantaneously flow to you. So that's why practices like gratitude practices are so powerful and so important, because when you pour out gratitude, God listens, the universe hears you, and therefore it's going to place more things along your path to be grateful for. So that's kind of like the fundamental building blocks of quantum physics, and really understanding that we can't control our outside circumstances. We can't control what someone else says or does or thinks. We can't control anything externally outside of us. However, what we can control is how we're feeling, what we're thinking, the words that we're speaking, and how we're responding to those outside circumstances. And so when we understand that the power, everything that we need is within us, and we hold the power through our thoughts, then we start to understand that we can change our life if we change our thoughts. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your thoughts. So and we get to talk about patterns and how we're all living in unconscious patterns. So I'm sure we have a lot to unlock today.
Well, you just like threw Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Vitale, Dr. Wayne Dyer, and all these others in the same.
Those are all my favorites.
And mine too. And I love that you talk about the law of attraction and the law of reciprocity. Say that word for me, please.
Oh my God, not me.
See? But so it's funny because each one of these guys, especially Dr. Joe Vitale,
Reciprocity.
I can't even say it still. We know what we're saying. We know what we mean. But it's funny because you mentioned that so many people, you're right, when they talk to law of attraction, oh, I watched The Secret, so I know it's so they think that, like you said, they can write it down and imagine it and it's going to happen. No, most of those same folks that we just talked about, they also talk about the law of right action. So the law of attraction is part of it, but you also have to take the right action to attract what you want, and that means speaking it into your world, believing it. It's the belief is first and foremost, and then speaking it, thinking it, doing it. You can't just pretend and think it's going to happen. And so I love that you went there, and it's and I'm a huge advocate of it. So it was fun that you went there right from the beginning. Yes, we got into the good stuff right from the start. So
Love it.
that's awesome. So now let's take a step back. Now, I love that you're into horses. One thing that nobody in my audience know, I can't say nobody, but not very many people in my audience know, is that I actually worked at a horse farm from age 13 to 15. And even though I started as the pooper scooper, I actually did end up helping train horses and actually learning how to ride. However, tell us more about that story. Tell us more about Lucie and being a young girl and wanting to own a horse, and then progressing into when you were 16, and tell us that story.
Okay, so I like to say that I was a little girl with a big dream. And just like Napoleon Hill says, the starting point for all achievement is a burning desire.
Mhm.
And I can say with absolute certainty that I had that burning desire because before I can remember, I was always obsessed with horses. And because of that, I would beg my dad every single day, Dad, please, please buy me a horse. And he never would because, I mean, he just tell me like, I love you, sweetheart, but our family doesn't have the means to purchase and maintain a horse. My parents were blue collar workers. My mom had 2 factory jobs. Horses were just out of we lived in the city. Like they were just totally out of the realm of possibilities. So I would pray at night and I would be like, dear God, please let me just dream that I'm riding a horse in my dreams. So that way it actually feels like I'm doing it in real life. And I can't tell you how many times, Tony, my left foot, I'd be dreaming my left foot goes in the stirrup. I'm like, throwing my right leg over. I'm about to ride the horse and poof, I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh my God, I was so close. And so then I decided I had to take matters into my own hands. And so the day I turned 16 was the same day that I got my driver's license and the same day that I created a Craigslist ad saying, I will ride your horse for free. And and I had all of these yahoos calling me with their unbroke horses, green broke horses that hadn't been touched or handled in like 5 to 10 years. And that's what I learned, that if you can follow your passion and really find out where your skill set lies, where your talents are, and exploit them in the service of others, you are going to be met with unprecedented success and true fulfillment on the other side of service to others. So that's kind of what kickstarted my journey. And so here I am, 16-year-old girl, brand new driver's license, driving all over God's country, super excited to ride these like half broke horses. And next thing you know, I'm getting bucked off, thrown off, flipped over on top of, you name it. I experienced it, and I never gave up. And so that's what's really important, is understanding that life is going to throw you curveballs. You're going to get thrown off the horse. You're going to eat dirt. It's just a matter of time. But it's so important that you stay laser focused on your goals, never letting go of your passion, and just understanding that failure is nothing more than an opportunity to live, to learn, and to grow. How can I do better, be better, and come back stronger than ever? And so I like to say, like, if you talk to any any successful business owner or entrepreneur, they're not, they're not $1 million entrepreneurs because they're lucky. They're $1 million entrepreneurs because they failed more times than most. I am the rider I am today, not because I'm lucky, but because I've got thrown off and I've ridden thousands of crazy unbroke horses that the horses taught me everything. I never had any sort of specialized instruction or education. So I went on to meet a horse dealer who would get like 50 horses in a week, and I had to ride and sell everything like fast, quick, cheap. And so and that was like kind of like my first step into the world of entrepreneurship, because it was like the sky's the limit. Do you want to ride 5 horses, 10 horses, 20 horses today? And that was really exciting. And so then I ended up selling horses all throughout high school, throughout college, and after college, I got scooped up into the corporate world where I was still selling horses on the side. And so to kind of finish my story is that I was in the corporate world for 3 years and I was like an Excel spreadsheet wizard where I would just from sun up to sundown, I'd be working on these Excel spreadsheets. And the whole time I would have my earphones in and I'd be listening to Dr. Wayne Dyer and I'd be taking these notes. And so I would have notebooks and notebooks just full of his just universal truths and his wisdom. And it just so happened that I had the world's worst boss, the most miserable, negative, pessimistic person you could ever imagine to be around. And here I am, like, I just saw The Secret when I was 18, and I was super excited and empowered about that. I'm like, Justin, you can do have anything that you want. And he's like, shut up, kid. And so, and I had to travel all around the country to like these different manufacturing plants with him, where he would literally list out every single thing that could possibly go wrong. And I would just look at him and I would just be like, Justin, that does not serve you to list out every single thing. You're literally putting your order in with the universe and calling these negative experiences to you. So it wasn't long before I realized that life in the cube was just not for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I did one of the scariest things that I've ever done, and that was quitting my comfy, cozy corporate job that had full benefits, paid vacation, awesome salary, to pretty much sell horses full time.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, my parents are old school, so they did not support this decision whatsoever.
Right.
I thought I was crazy, which I probably was a little bit crazy, still am. And anyways, I took a chance. I took a leap of faith, and not one day has passed that I've regretted leaving the cube and following my passion, because since then I was able to essentially build and scale a 7-figure business, buying, training, and selling horses all over the country. And I accidentally opened one of Michigan's largest public trail riding companies. It's called High Vibe Trail Rides. So, and again, it was just like, it was, I say that it was on accident only because like trail riding is one of my favorite things to do. And
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to share it. I wanted to share it with my friends, my family, and word of mouth spread. And again, when you follow your passion and you take inspired action, to your point,
Yeah.
that it's just like doors of opportunity will open. And I think that I was very fortunate to have stumbled across the teachings of Dr. Wayne Dyer and Joe Dispenza and Abraham Hicks to really incorporate all of their teachings, not only in my life, but in my business. And so I'm not here to say, oh, hey, look at me, look at everything I've accomplished. No, I'm here to say, like, use me as an example. If there's one thing I believe, it's that that I want to live, lead, and inspire by example. So if I can do it, then you can do it too. And if I've figured out some pretty phenomenal strategies and techniques that I implemented in my life to get these results, now I'm obsessed with teaching quantum physics and really understanding how to leverage the laws of the universe so that way people can start implementing these strategies and very intentionally creating the life of their dreams. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I've gotten to where I am now.
This episode is brought to you by podmatch.com. For all your podcasting needs, if you're somebody who wants to be a guest on different podcasts, then this is the place for you. I was literally booked on 31 different podcasts in less than 30 days. And as a podcast host, I've been able to find everybody I needed for mine. So if you're trying to get on a podcast or you need people on your podcast, this is the place for you. Go to joinpodmatch.com/bschmaltzy to sign up today. You won't be disappointed, and your podcast experience will be that much better because of it. Well, and that's awesome. And I love the fact that you took the risk. You said, I'm doing this. I'm going in. I'm going all in. Like you said, you stayed laser focused on your goals. And I love that you use that in conjunction with Dr. Wayne Dyer, and you were listening to Dr. Wayne Dyer. One of the folks that I wish I could have met before he passed on. I've met Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Vitale, Jack Canfield. I've met so many of those folks, but I did not get to meet Dr. Wayne Dyer. But what I like about it is a lot of people don't know that about his story. So when he first wrote The Erroneous Zones, he quit his job as a professor who making 6 figures to go on the road to try to pitch his book. And he like you did, he went all in. And so when you stay laser focused like you did with selling horses, and you stick to that, and you know what you're going to do, and you've got that vision in your mind, then there's nothing that can stop you. As long as you keep working with the law of attraction, working with the law of right action, and making it happen. And so I love to hear that story. That's an amazing story. And for everyone out there listening, it's just more testament to keeping your eye on that prize and really going after. It's okay to take the risk. Some people say fail forward. I mean, those of you that know me know how many times that my wife and I have fallen on our faces, and we've come right back up and come out bigger than we did before. And there's so many instances. This is not about me today, though. So, okay, that's awesome. Okay, so now somewhere in between this, you went to college and you speak multiple languages. You graduated summa cum laude. I mean, where did we miss something in between here? What happened there?
I guess my I never had to do chores as a child. My parents said if you get good grades, then you don't have to do chores. So I just did really good. I just really was good at studying. And I think that honestly, like looking back, I think that paid off in the long run because now I love studying and I love reading and I love consuming just all of this high vibrational wisdom that is, I mean, these ideas of the law of attraction and the law of assumption that I think Neville Goddard calls it in his book, The Power of Awareness. Like these ideas and these concepts have been around for decades. And that's why it's so exciting when you start really diving deep and learning how to very intentionally implement these strategies and then just like stepping back and watching as the different opportunities present themselves, where it's like a friend of a friend knows somebody who has exactly what you were looking for, or all of a sudden you were in the right place at the right time and things are just working out for you.
Mhm.
But I think more than anything, like the number one thing that I would say people have to understand or shift is energy or state.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding that like we truly live in a vibrational universe and that your energy is your highest form of currency, and that whatever it is that you want to create or attract, like you have to embody the energy of that thing, of that wish fulfilled, of that desire achieved. And then when you do that and when you spend time visualizing every single day, even if it's only for 5 or 10 minutes, just like your mind doesn't know an imagined future event versus a memory versus something that you are thinking about, like versus like me imagining this water bottle right in front of my face. So whatever it is, and your mind will always move towards what's most familiar.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, that's why it's so important for us not like we have the decision if we want to choose to live from a memory of a past or a vision of the future, because again, the mind moves towards what it's most familiar with.
Right.
And so whatever we spend our time focusing on, thinking about, talking about, that is what we're going to experience in our lives. And that's why so many people feel stuck today, is because they're stuck in a story. They're stuck in a belief system and they're stuck in their own identity. And so it's so important for us to really, instead of defending our beliefs and defending what we have deemed possible for ourselves, once we start to question that, and then once we start to challenge our belief systems and really just push the boundaries of what we believe to be possible, that's when just exciting doors open and miracles are manifested and our expectations are exceeded in incredible ways.
Big time, big time. And so I love how you talk about visualization. That's those that follow me know that I'm huge on visualization. And like you, I talk about, even if it's just a small moments, I do mine every morning, 10 to 30 minutes, depending on my schedule, minimum of 10 up to 30. And so, it's not just visualizing it, the what you're imagining you want or what you desire. It's feeling it like you're actually already there, like you've already got it, like you're already sitting in that moment. And I like to do an exercise with some of my clients, and I call it the 3-year look back. Like, okay, let's say you and I hadn't talked to each other in 3 years, and then all of a sudden we run into each other in a restaurant. I'll say, hey, Lucie, great to see you. And you've hit all of your goals over the last 3 years. And I say, great, that's awesome. What does your life look like now? And so that's the exercise. Get those folks thinking about what it would be like 3 years from now if they hit every one of their goals, and get them to describe it. Oh, I've got this nice big house. Cool. What color is it? How many bedrooms? How many square feet? Get them to really think about what that is. Feel it, really feel it. So
Oh, I love that. I love that so much.
now visualizing, I got to ask this question because this is something I ask a lot of people when they talk about visions and visualizing. Vision boards, yes or no?
Oh yeah, for sure. Most
Okay. All right.
definitely. Why not?
Well, I mean, I'm good with them. I just don't use them. I tend to use my imagination more. I used vision boards before, but I tended to just let them sit there. Like they would sit in front of me and I'd be like, oh, I'd look at them, but I wouldn't really use them like they're intended to be used. Whereas
Yeah, I guess I'm probably guilty of that too.
yeah, I'm great at visualizing, just not using the vision board. So I'm not against them. I don't use them myself.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to have a vision board party and pick everything out. And honestly, it's cool. It's really cool to make one every year and then see like, wow, like this thing came through, this thing came true, this thing came true. And like that's exciting. But kind of like what you had said about I love like the 3-year look back. I'll do one of my things that I love teaching clients is intention setting and setting monthly intentions. So very similar to what you had said, it's just a little bit of a smaller time period, is that let's say we're setting May intentions.
Mhm.
So we'll look back and we'll say on May 1st. So let's say it's May 1st and we're like, okay, I'm going to sit down and write my May intentions. You started off by saying today is Friday, May 31st. And I think that's right. I think Friday is May 31st.
Yeah, that's tomorrow. Yeah.
I think that's right.
It's all good.
And then you're like, and I feel so today is Friday, May 31st, and I feel so grateful and whatever it is, so grateful, so excited, so delighted, so proud of myself, whatever adjective you want to throw in there. Um, because I blah 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 blah. Because I whatever reached my sale goal, because I hired 3 amazing employees, because I finally stepped on the scale and I weigh this number, because I was able to transform my eating habits, because I finally hired a coach and I'm seeing tangible results in my business, whatever it is. And I like to cover 5 areas of their life. So health and fitness, relationships, which can be any relationship with your spouse, with your parents, with your children, with your boss, with your coworkers, whatever relationship, whether it's flourishing or if it's struggling, just like put whatever, however you want it to be. Um, and then there's finances. So whether that is your career, your job, your passion project, investments, whatever like the world of money looks like, then lifestyle. So many
Mm-mm.
people forget that like life is meant to be enjoyed and celebrated. And so we forget to have fun. So I like to add like different fun activities. Like what can I do for fun? What kind of fun date nights can I go on, for example? And then the fifth and final thing is spirituality. And just like Dr. Wayne Dyer said, we're not human beings having a spiritual experience, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And so, therefore, I believe that the point of this existence is joyous expansion. We're here to grow and to expand and to thrive. And I couple with like under the spirituality section of everything, I also like to include any sort of like self-development or intentional growth, we'll say, because when we're learning and we're growing, it's going to just pour out and improve the other areas of our lives. So that's kind of a small exercise that I'll have people do and write out in the past tense. I'm so grateful for having achieved this, for
Yep.
having manifested this. I feel this, and just really pushing people to use their imagination, because imagination is something that's like long forgotten. You're a child and like when you're in school, they're like, you can be anything. Do you want to be a firefighter or a pilot or the president of the United States? And then it's like, as soon as we grow up, they're like, you get a kick in the butt and it's just like, get real, be
Yeah.
realistic,
Yeah.
join the real world. And it's just like, reality is so subjective. It's malleable. It's just, it's like we can shape it into whatever it is that we want it to be. So this whole idea of like a get real is like, no, I don't want to, like, I create my own
Yeah,
reality. Like,
right.
I don't like yours.
No, no, and you're right. And I love to tell people daydream away. You know, when, like you said, when we're growing up, they're like, stop daydreaming, come back to reality. You know, what are you doing? And I'm like, no, daydream away. That's creating right there. The daydreaming is creating, and creating is, you can either create or you can react. And I choose to create, and I
Oh,
try to
love
help
that.
other people create. And so I love that you have people talk about it in the past tense. Now, I do have a question for you. So I learned a new term the other day from one of my mentors, Steve Chandler, and it hits close to home. And I'm gonna say the term, and I'm gonna ask you your thoughts. And it's a made up term that he made up, but it's intention deficit disorder. So how many times how do you hold people to their intentions? Because so many people say, I intend to do this, here's my intentions, and then they're making excuses later. So how do you keep people on their intentions?
I think that, like for me, I think it's really powerful to just keep them at the top of your mind. And well, I think a couple things. I think the first thing is like writing them out. Like, okay, you can have an intention in your mind. Step one.
Mhm.
Step two, take the time to write it out because there's something very magical that happens with your focus. Just like taking that time to write it out and then read it. Read it every day. Read it, even if it's not every day, every other day, once a week, just read it as much as you can. Because when you're reading that intention or that vision or that monthly intention, what you're doing is you're planting that into your RAS, your reticular activating system. And so, in case anybody doesn't know what the RAS is, it's basically like if I were to ask you, how many red cars did you see on your drive home? You'd be like, oh, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. Then tomorrow, how many red cars? Oh, I saw 26. Why? Because you were looking for them. You were paying attention. And so the same thing when we have our vision in front of us or our monthly intentions or whatever it is that we want to create, maybe like a goal card that we hold with us and that we're reading it on a regular basis. We're implanting that idea into our subconscious mind, into our reticular activating system. And therefore, what it's doing is, again, the mind moves towards what it's most familiar with. So if that's what we're most familiar with, then all of a sudden you're stepping into the receiving mode. And all of a sudden your eyes are open and and like opportunities that maybe have been available to you before, but you just didn't see them because you weren't in a space to receive them. All of a sudden, you now see them and you now act on those opportunities because you're like, oh wait, this is in alignment with my goals this month or this year. So I think that writing it down and reading it is really, really important and powerful. And then I also think that accountability with intentions is paramount, whether it's with a friend or a family member, or if even more beneficial is like hiring a coach or mentor, because there's something to be said about like paying money for something when there's that energetic exchange, because as we all know, money is nothing more than energy. And so when we're exchanging energy for something, it's like we're going to receive something even better in return.
Right.
And so having a coach or a mentor, or even if you can't afford that, even if it's a family member that's going to hold you accountable to what you said that you're going to do. That's why, like, I was like, right now, as you know, I'm doing a fast and I've never fasted a day before in my life. And considering how much I love food, like this was a super scary thing. Like I had no idea. Like I was excited for all of like the incredible benefits that I had heard about from my friends and family, but I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And I was super nervous.
Yeah.
But what did I do? I posted about it on Facebook because it's like once it's on Facebook, you're committed. You can't back down. You have your whole community like cheering you on.
Yeah, once you've
So,
spoken it to the world, to everybody, you're like, all right, now, well, I'm done now. I'm committed. I've spoken it to the world. I've told everybody about it. I'm in. I'm in.
yeah, there's no turning back at that point. So if you're afraid to do something, just make the decision, commit, and then post about it on Facebook. You'll be fine.
I like, I like that you said two things right there. You said decision and commit. So I like to share that there's three huge keys to success for anything you're trying to do, whether it's physical, personal, mental, financial. And one is the choice. You got to make the choice that this is what you want to do, that you're going to go after this vision. Two, you have to commit. And when I say commit, it needs to become a top priority of yours. And then three, you have to practice, because nothing happens the first time. I mean, how many times have we seen people that have said, oh, I tried it for a week, it didn't work for me. And you're like, really? A week? Come on. Give it the gold college try. Give it some time, put the effort in. Things don't happen like that. And most of the times, if I got a client, it's on a longer term agreement, I'll say, no, you give it 90 days. Now, if it's a shorter term, like I've got somebody on a 90-day agreement, then okay, give it at least 30 days, but no less than 30 days. You're never going to see any result unless you give it at least 30 days. Depending on what kind of study you follow, some people say longer, some people say a little shorter, but to develop a habit, the minimum time I've ever read is 21 days. So at least give it that,
Yes, totally.
And so choice, commitment, and practice. And I've got a friend of mine who talks about commitment. Like he considers himself one of the most committed people you've ever met. And he is a very top level coach, charges a lot more than I do. And he said to me one day, he said, I am the most committed person you'll ever see. If I ever met anybody as committed as me, I will work with them for free. And I was like, ooh, knowing what he charges, I'm like, that's a bold statement. And I'm like, I mean, I believe in paying for value, so I don't want to work with you for free, but challenge accepted. Otherwise, now I got to try to be that committed. Holy moly. That's a tall order. All right, here we go.
I love that.
So the commitment and the practice, but that also goes along with everything we're talking about so far. It's whether you're practicing vision, you're practicing the law of attraction, it's the practice of it's putting in the time. It's actually putting in the effort. You can't just say, oh, I tried it for a couple of days and it didn't work for me, because you're right. It didn't work because you didn't really give it the time.
Yeah, it's like anything. If you just continue, you're gonna fail, and fail is part of the journey. And you have to understand that the joy is in the journey. Like when I did my very first bikini competition, again, I didn't even know that was possible. And for the first half of prep, I didn't even believe it was possible for myself. But I'll tell you what, like standing on stage, like being in what's it called? The room. I forgot the like being backstage with all the girls and then standing on stage and doing the poses and doing the thing and getting the spray tan and the hair and the makeup and all of that stuff. Like that was great. But honestly, it pales in comparison to the actual journey, like the transformation, the discipline, the dedication, like everything that I learned about myself and about life and about nutrition, about food and about working out, just so much knowledge that was gained. And it's almost like
This episode is brought to you by 7K Metals. All your gold and silver needs go to 7K Metals. You can get all of your collectible coins or raw materials at cost, and the only true investment in your future is in gold and silver. There's all kinds of uncertainty around cryptocurrency and around virtual dollars. That this is the only solid investment is gold and silver. So go to 7kmetals.com/schmaltzy to check it out now and be a part of this amazing legacy of investing in gold and silver for your future and the future of your children.
even before I started, I remember my girlfriend is a fitness competitor and she's been doing this for years. She's like big bodybuilder. She's a rock star. And I remember like thinking like, oh, I would never have any desire to stand on stage in a bikini and have some random dude judge me against the girl standing next to me. Like that doesn't excite or inspire me at all because I'm kind of like, whatever, that's just comparison, lame. But what really got me excited about that was when I'm like, you know what? I'm going to push myself. I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to stop doing what's easy and what's convenient. And I'm going to do what's hard. And it's not going to last forever. It's going to be a season, but I'm going to decide and I'm going to commit. I'm going to show up for myself. And I think that's how come like there was so much reward and there was so much joy in the journey of that and in the transformation, because it didn't matter. Like I looked like an action figure and I had 6-pack abs. Like it was amazing. I never thought I'd be able to achieve anything like that. I never believed that was possible for me. But I'm saying this because it was like once I started to see the results and I started that's when it shifted my belief. And it's like you can achieve anything once you start believing. And once I
Yes.
added belief, it like accelerated all of my results. And then it didn't even matter. I didn't even place. I didn't even get an award, but it didn't matter because it was never about like winning against the other girls. Just me standing on stage, I felt like I had already won because it was like me against me and seeing this journey, this transformation and everything I had been through, everything I had learned, like that was incredible. That was all I needed. So, in case anybody's wanting to do a fitness journey, push yourself. You will love every minute of it. Even when it's hard, that's when it's the best because we learn and we grow in the difficulty, in the struggle.
Yeah, it's who you become along the way. You know,
Yeah.
the fun is in the journey. And a lot of people forget that. They're so focused on laser focused on the result that they forget about the enjoying the journey to get there. So
Yeah.
I gotta ask now. I gotta ask. Okay, so you had this background of selling horses and creating this number one trail company in Michigan, right?
Yeah.
And so what was the moment, or was there a moment that triggered you to get into coaching or get into serving others in that fashion?
I firmly believe that if you're blessed, be a blessing. And I'm so passionate about these principles, just because they've served me in such an incredibly beautiful and powerful way in my own life and my own business and my own relationships that I get supercharged talking all about quantum physics and how to leverage the laws of the universe that I every opportunity that I get to talk about this in front of people and really listen to like where they're at and what they're going through and really where they want to go. And it kind of like, I'm like, how can I help? And I feel like the universe, like whatever you put out in the world is exactly what you're going to get back. So when you say things like, okay, how can I help? How can I serve? What can I do? The universe is therefore going to respond to you in exactly the same manner. How can I help you? How can I serve you?
Mhm.
But when you're constantly like, I forgot where I was just the other day. I remember. Okay, so it was my birthday last week, as you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And my dad was super sweet and he got me a birthday card with a lottery ticket in it. And I'm like, I don't do the lottery. Like it's just not my thing.
Yeah, me neither.
But I'm like, maybe I should. And so he gets me a lottery ticket, and it's kind of a cool story because um, Jason, my boyfriend, he's like all about like clean trucks. Like he has like a really nice truck, and well, he signed up for life on a farm with a horse girl who has a German Shepherd. So you can already imagine how that's going. So I found like a friend. It's actually a kid who takes lessons with us. I found out that he details cars. And so sure enough, he came out and I paid for him to detail Jason's truck. And I paid him $40 and super reasonable. And he did this great job. We're like, okay, thank you, thank you. And then I'm like, oh, I gotta go get gas. Oh, I'll take that lottery ticket in with me. And so sure enough, I scan it and I got $60 on my lottery ticket that my dad got me.
That's awesome.
And I was like, oh my God, how exciting. It's just like, again, like law of reciprocity. I just handed him $40 and then I literally got back 60 and I'm like, oh, how beautiful. And then to kind of like bring the story back to where I was going is that today I called my dad and I'm like, oh my gosh, Dad, you're never gonna guess what happened. How exciting. Thank you so much for the lottery ticket. I got $60. I'm so happy. Then he was like, I love my dad and he's amazing, by the way. And he was like, oh, too bad it was only $60. I wish it would have been more for you. And I'm like, no, Dad, that was like, I've never played the lottery. That was plenty. That was amazing. Like it was something. And so to my point is that sometimes like depending on how you look at things,
Mhm.
whether you're saying like, um, when life gives you something and being like, or oh, I remember when I'm like, oh, how can I serve? How can I help you? Versus something happens and you're like, oh, that wasn't good enough. That wasn't enough. And like, I want more, then the universe is going to kind of just like continually throw that energy back at you. Like, oh, it's going to continue to give you things where you feel like, oh, it wasn't enough, and feel like that lack or that stress or that frustration. So it's really, the key is awareness and becoming conscious of the thoughts that we're thinking and the feelings that and the emotions that we're feeling. Because we can't change what we're unaware of. All change is preceded by awareness.
Right. Have you read Dr. Victor Bach's book, How to Solve All Your Money Problems Forever?
No, I haven't. I actually haven't heard of that one.
Oh, it is like the epitome of the law of reciprocity. I can't even say it again.
Reciprocity.
Reciprocity. Thank you.
You got it.
It is literally that is almost the entire concept of the book. And I was turned on to this book by the ultimate coach, Steve Hardison, who actually met Victor Bach when this was coming out. Like his book came out in like 89 or 90, like early 90s. I think it was early 90s. But it is literally everything that we're talking about. He includes all this in the book, but he relates it around money. And he talks about how the more you give, the more you get. And he talks about the how much, every time that you receive money, you give it. And even though you kind of did it a little bit in reverse there, you gave the $40 and got 60, it was still the same concept. I mean, you're still, and so it's fun. It's a fun book. And the way he relates it back to everybody is phenomenal. And I only bring that up because of your example, because it is. And that's one of the things that we've noticed in our lives is when we spend our time giving and giving rightfully so. Not everybody, I'm not saying this in a bad way, but not everyone deserves to be given to. There's some people that take advantage of it, but somebody who really deserves to be provided for, whether you're donating to a foundation or you're giving to an individual who really needs help, you're going to see that come back. As long as you're doing it from a place of authenticity and from truly gratitude. I'm grateful for what I have and I want to help you because of it.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is huge, huge. And you mentioned that earlier about being grateful and utilizing that within the law of attraction, within all of this. And it's so important. I mean, so many people walk around today wanting more, but not being happy for what they have. This episode is brought to you by My Genius Leads. My Genius Leads is an AI-powered lead generation system that you can use through social media platforms to help bring more people into your business. Doesn't matter if you're a coach, a consultant, a network marketer, an affiliate marketer, or just somebody who's selling a product, My Genius Leads can work for you. So go to mygeniusleads.com/Tony Schmaltz to get your introductory offer for your risk-free trial and be a part of this phenomenon, this AI phenomenon that is creating wealth around us. mygeniusleads.com/Tony Schmaltz, and we'll see you on the other side. And not being, I think it was Jim Rohn who said at one point, or he was having a conversation with somebody who said, oh, if I only had more money, I'd be more happy. He said, no, that's not true. More money is only going to make you more of what you already are. If you're not happy if you're not a happy person now, then you're not going to be a happy person with more money. If you're a frustrated person, you're going to be more frustrated with more money. Now, if you're happy now, more money will make you happier. So it's really being able to look in the mirror and being happy with who we're being. Now, we may want to improve, we may want other things, but we need to accept who that is now so that we can move forward in the future.
Totally. Couldn't agree more. And then we step into self-acceptance and self-awareness and how powerful that is. And it's like, who do we want to show up as? Who do we want to become? How do we want to show up in the world? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we have these patterns. I like to talk about the patterns that run our life. Like when we take a step back and really look at our lives, we'll soon realize that our life is nothing more than a sequence of patterns. Because we're creatures of habit and we like to do the same things in the morning, in the evening, in the afternoon, every day on repeat. It's like we think 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and 90% of them are the same thoughts that we thought the day before and the day before and the day before. So it's like, if we know that our thoughts are creating a reality and we want massive change, an incredible new future, well, how are we going to create that if we're continually doing the same thing day in and out? I think they just came out with a Harvard study that said 48% of people's day-to-day activities were all being done on autopilot, aka just unconsciously.
Big time. And even some of those autopilot things, we don't give ourselves credit. People in general don't give themselves credit for the things they actually accomplish every day. One of the things that I encourage my clients to do is last thing before they go to bed is write down a list of accomplishments for the day.
Ah,
And everything. I mean, that can be doing the laundry, filling up your gas tank, going to the
yeah,
grocery store, picking up the kids from school, writing that ebook or creating that new client, whatever that is. And you're going to find that that list is actually a lot longer than you thought. I mean, but when most people, when you say write down your accomplishments, the first thing they do is go to their to-do list. And those other things aren't on that to-do list. The things that we
yeah.
take for granted. Hey, I made my bed first thing in the morning. I filled the gas tank. I had 10 conversations with potential clients. Those are things that we tend not to give ourselves credit for. And when you actually list those down last thing before you go to bed, you're like, holy crap, I got a lot done today.
Oh
I
wait,
want to
yeah.
I want to do more tomorrow.
Well, so okay, this is like so funny because I have been doing this practice. I do my gratitudes every single night, and I've been doing these for 8+ years. I don't even know how long, but every single night, just like you said, before I go to sleep, I take out my phone and I list out I literally say like I'm grateful for waking up and meditating. I'm grateful for cold showers and hot oatmeal. I'm grateful for an amazing training with Mickey or Jen or whatever
Yeah.
and I'll just go through the day and like and it might be something small or it might be something large, but it's just like that's how you retrain your subconscious mind is to look for the good because again, we have these patterns of focus, patterns of physiology and patterns of language. And when we spend time with a gratitude practice, what that's doing is that's training our minds to look for the good, look for the silver lining, look for the lesson learned in a difficult time. And once you start to shift your focus and shift your perspective, just like Dr. Wayne Dyer says, once you start to change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And it's like your life will shift dramatically. And so what I do is I couple gratitude with intention. And so then I write out tomorrow's forecast. And so then I write out, so once I'm in that like high vibrational state of gratitude and really like kind of like you said, like, wow, I'm a badass. Look how much I accomplished today. And like, wow, I'm so grateful for all of these beautiful blessings or all of these miracles that effortlessly manifested today. Like I like to say that every single moment is a manifested miracle. And that's why we have the power in every moment to decide how we want to show up. What energy do we want to reside in? At what frequency do we want to operate in? Because life is 10% about what happens and 90% of how we respond. So
Yes.
all of our power is in the now precious moment. And depending on how we respond to that external circumstance is going to dictate the outcome of whatever future is going to unfold. It all depends on how we're choosing to react. That's why I like to say that we are only ever one decision away from a completely different life.
Yeah.
And so that's really exciting. But going back to the tomorrow's forecast is I'll write out whatever it is that I want to experience, create, or attract in the coming day. And sometimes it might be like the other day I wrote out horse sale ? I didn't have a horse sale scheduled. I didn't have anybody on my calendar. But sure enough, because I had wrote down horse sale ? Somebody called me, out of state buyer. Oh, I saw your ad. Can you send me the video? Send them the video. Oh, I love the horse. Here's my address. Set up the shipping. I'm gonna send you a deposit to hold the horse until we can arrange for shipping. And I'm like, oh my God, amazing. So a lot of times, like whatever it is, like you can put like love, laughter, joy, peace, prosperity, just high vibes and healthy food, whatever it is that you want to create, attract your experience in your day, write that on your tomorrow's forecast and just sit back and be amazed as the universe works its magic and things start to effortlessly manifest before you.
I like how you say forecast. I really do. I really love that because it's funny you and I are so aligned on this part. So I mentioned the accomplishments part. So what I do, and it's a journal entry of my own design that I provide to my clients. Is it's called, and for those of you listening, you've heard me talk about this before. It's called a Foursquare journal. So again, the last thing at night is I take my journal, open it up, I'll draw a line down the center, vertically and horizontally. And the top left square is all the accomplishments for the day. So here's where I list all my accomplishments. The next square is what am I grateful for? So I start with accomplishments first, then gratitude. The third square is what did I learn today? And that can be something from a mentor, from a coach, from a book, from an online course, whatever it is. And it can be, well, one line, it can be a whole page. And the last thing is my number one priority for tomorrow. So I like your forecast. I'm going to have to probably start adopting the forecast part versus the number one priority, because I kind of like that better. But the number one priority part of it, like some people are like, well, I've got this big project, it's going to take hours. I'm like, cool. Then your number one priority is to work on this for 1 hour, and then that way,
And then,
go ahead.
and I also think that's really great because I know for me, like I have a giant to-do list a mile long, and like there's several things on that to-do list that I don't want to do and I don't want to address.
Right.
So it's just like, I think it's like eat the frog, where you just like do the thing that you least want to do and just get it done, get it over with, get it off of the to-do list. So that way it can stop like weighing on your conscious, because again, that affects your energy levels. And then it affects how you show up and what you're experiencing and attracting. So just do the hard thing. Do it. Even if you don't want to do it, just do it. Do it
And guess what?
afraid. Do it scared.
Then you get to move that to your accomplishments list. So then it's on the accomplishment side. You're like, yeah, I did the hard thing. Yes, let's do another one tomorrow.
Yes, exactly.
That's so awesome. So awesome. Okay, so now let's take it back to the coaching side of things. When you get a brand new client and you've identified some of their challenges, what are some of the first things you take your new clients through?
I take everybody through a 3-step process. We have it's like the 3 pillars of essentially reprogramming your subconscious mind. The first pillar is energy or state, and we touched a lot on that, understanding that that energy is your highest form of currency, and that we live in an attraction-based universe where you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And that life is going to throw its curveballs and our power is in our response. So understanding that once you start to control your internal world, you can start to manipulate and control your external world. And then you can shift your reality into whatever it is that you want to create or experience. The second one is desire. And really, I help people get crystal clear on what it is that they want to, create in life, what they want to experience, what is their vision. We go through a whole vision extraction process. And my favorite question to ask people is kind of like your 3-year question is, if you had unlimited resources and money were of no concern, what would your life look like?
Yeah.
Paint me a picture. And almost immediately, people will start listing off every single thing that they don't want. Well, I wouldn't want this, and I don't want this, and I don't want to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and battle rush hour traffic and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like society has us so conditioned to focus on what it is that we don't want, that again, where our focus goes, our energy flows, and we're just going to perpetually create more of what we don't want or more of the same. And so it's really breaking that habit and training our focus to focus on the good. And so then once we have this vision, then, and like I said, we go through the 5 areas of our life, then we have it in front of us. We're reading it consistently. We're implementing the reticular activating system on our behalf. The third pillar is belief. And belief is so important. Belief is literally what bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And the reason is because you can know with absolute clarity what you want. You can have a written out vision, but if you don't believe that you're worthy, that you're capable, that you're able to achieve or accomplish what it is that you want, then there's always going to be a vibrational discrepancy. And that thing that you want is always going to be just out of reach.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so important to really understand that we are all conditioned beings, and conditioned based on our past, the environment that we grew up in, our childhood, our parents' beliefs, any traumas that we've experienced growing up. And so we all have these paradigms, these belief systems that are holding us stuck. We have these limiting beliefs that we don't even know they're limiting beliefs. We just take them for granted and accept them as reality, as like, oh, bad things happen to good people, or money's hard to make, or whatever it could be, or like I'm unlucky, or like, oh, isn't that like I just have bad luck, whatever it is. And it's like, okay, why do you keep saying that? Stop. Pattern interrupt. Stop telling yourself that. You're doing yourself a huge disservice by like continuing to believe that, even if it's in like a joking, like kind of like sarcastic, condescending, like, haha, so funny. But it's like, it is funny, but at the same time, it's not funny because you're not serving yourself by constantly speaking that into existence.
Yeah.
So the third piece of all of it is really transforming people's belief systems and helping them rewire their subconscious. What that means is transforming their identity, because we are where we are today based on every single decision that we've made up until this point, every thought, every action, every decision. And so it's like, if we want new results, if we want unprecedented success, if we want financial freedom and we aren't already experiencing it, that means that we are going to have to take radically different action. We're going to have to become a totally different person. We're going to have to think new thoughts. We are going to have to feel new emotions, and we're going to have to just break our old habits and create new habits, surround ourselves with a whole new peer group, and essentially become a totally different person, which is really hard for a lot of people because that means death of the ego. And
Yeah.
it's like, how long have you been you? It served you for how many years, how many decades? And so to just give that all up, it's a really scary thing. But again, if we want a brand new life with incredible, unprecedented success, new results, we're going to have to become a totally different person. And so that's the exciting part, is really what I help people do, is identify, like, what is the highest version, the best version of myself look like? What does that person dress like? How do they speak? How do they carry themselves? What's the energy like? What is their belief system like? What beliefs do they carry about the world, about money, about relationships, about health? And how do their beliefs differ from my current beliefs? So then it's like, okay, well, you have to give up everything that you know to be near and dear to your heart, everything that you're familiar with, let it go and challenge yourself to really adapt the energy and the beliefs of the person you want to become. Because in doing so, you're going to collapse timelines, and you're going to eventually become that person who has those things,
Yeah.
who lives that lifestyle. And so that's essentially the process that I walk people through.
That's awesome. And I love that last part when you're talking about how believing in the person that you want to become, because a lot of times what I found is that person they want to become is the person they actually are, but they've been hiding their true selves because of the programming they've been taught their entire lives. This is how you're supposed to be. You got to have this good job. You got to go to school, get good grades, get a good job, work for 40 years, and then retire. You know, we're taught to think a certain way and act a certain way and be a certain way, that in that process, we've lost who we really are. And back to what you're talking about, it's not always the case, but a lot of times when you're having that conversation, I've found that you're actually helping people discover who they actually are already. It's just been buried deep inside from all the things that have been taught. I mean, do you experience the same thing? I mean, is it just me?
Yes. I mean, yes, absolutely. And I think a lot of it is just when we talk about self-image or people's concepts of self, like, your subconscious mind is never going to outperform or out succeed the vision of yourself, of the person who you believe to be. And so therefore it's like, you really have to transform your identity and let go of all of these limiting beliefs that, like, you're not good enough, or you're not able, or you're not capable, and like really start to step into the world of infinite possibilities, where, like, what if this is true? And it's just like reminding yourself every single day that the only limits that I'm experiencing are the limits that I place upon myself. So
Yeah.
let's dream big, baby.
That's right. That's right. That's right. All right. I think we're getting close here. So tell everybody how they can find you, where they can best find you. And by the way, anything she mentions, we'll have in our show notes as well. But let tell everybody where the best places to find you is.
Yeah, so there's two different things. The first one is ultimatesuccessblueprint.com. And so what we've done is, well, I guess what we have is the 16-week course that allows people to very intentionally reprogram their subconscious mind and transform their identity, so that way they can start taking massive action towards their goals. And what we've done is we've condensed this 16-week training into a 2-hour, like a 2-hour 6-part series that's very easy to digest. And normally this training sells for $1,000 on the website. However, we have a promo code for you and your audience. So again, if you go to ultimatesuccessblueprint.com and type in promo code WAKE UP, you will be able to access and download this training at absolutely no cost. And it's just full of different strategies, techniques, stuff that we were talking about today, that you'll be able to very easily implement into your schedule and start feeling better, raising your vibration, and attracting miracles right and left. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, I would love to invite you guys to our Facebook group. It's called Transformation Nation. And it's really just a group of positive content, of accountability, where we're pouring out content every single day to inspire, to uplift, and to make this world a better place, allowing and empowering each person to show up as the best version of themselves mentally, physically, financially, and spiritually. And so if you guys want to find me on social media, Facebook is Lucie's Bubble, Lucies Bubble, because fiercely protect your bubble. And Instagram is Coach Lucie Lynn, Lucielyn. I know you're going to put that in the show notes. I think I'm just used to saying that at this
All
point.
good. No, I
And
gotta ask, is that promo code for the show, or is it a total coincidence that it's Wake Up and the show's called Wake to
oh
Bleep
no,
Up?
we made it for the show.
Oh, just checking. I'm just checking. I
Oh
was
no,
totally gonna
that's
call it
for
out.
you.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
All right, everybody. You heard that. Okay. I was hoping it was a total coincidence, but no.
Oh, and on the Transformation Nation in the Facebook group, every Friday morning at 10:30 Eastern, I actually go live and I do a gratitude meditation for everybody. So whether anyone, like for me, meditation is a non-negotiable. It's changed my life in so many incredible, beautiful ways that I recommend, if there's one thing anybody could do that's going to up level every area of your life and radically just bring about beautiful change, it's meditation. So I asked myself, how can I serve? How can I give back? And this is how I'm able to positively impact the community in the world. Every Friday morning at 10:30 Eastern, I do a live gratitude meditation. So whether you're a seasoned meditator or you're just getting started and you're not sure where to start or how, I would love to invite you to join me. Everything is recorded. So even if you're in a different time zone, don't worry, you can catch the replay.
Awesome. Okay, one more time. Website and social links, real quick.
Website is ultimatesuccessblueprint.com, promo code wake up.
Awesome.
And
Facebook Transformation Nation.
Facebook. Yep, that's the group. And if you can't find the specific Transformation Nation, I post all over my Facebook at Lucie's Bubble. So that's Lucies Bubble. And you can find the Instagram is Coach Lucie Lynn.
Awesome. So guys, this has been amazing. I love having Lucie on the show. We've talked so much about things that we're very aligned in. I love that we've talked about the law of attraction. We've talked about the law of right action. We've talked about how to manifest, how to work on gratitude, how to talk about accomplishments. It's been an amazing conversation. Lucie, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Tony. I just appreciated being here and enjoyed every minute of this podcast. Your energy is amazing.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining the Wake to Bleep Up show, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.